Chapter 21 Feast. A small feast was taking place on the lookout with Raditz devouring food at a very fast pace. Even if the gang was curious about space, it was nothing that cannot be discussed during a feast. The gang was relaxed and eating their fill. And Krillin, although used to this kind of food intake because of Goku, still sighed at the similarity between his best friend and his brother. Wow, this must run in the family. Krillin rubbed his head as he spoke out loud. Everyone nodded subtly at that. Only Raditz seemed unbothered by this. He ate like a giant ape if you will, and so did every other Saiyan. Nah, it's ****, it's something Saiyan specific. We have to support our gigantic bodies after all. Tien stopped his chewing for a second and asked with confusion. Gigantic? You look pretty normal. But Bulma understood what Raditz was trying to say, because she was there when Raditz went Titan a while back. I think he's talking about him turning into, you know, that giant ape. Yamcha hearing this almost choked on his food and banged his chest hard. Krillin shakingly held his bowl and laughed nervously. Looking at Raditz and imagining him going crazy was enough to scare him. One weaker Goku was hard to deal with as is. ****. Why you gotta be kidding me? It's something that happens to you as well? Yamcha exclaimed while showing a sweating expression. He remembered the days he had to run like hell after Goku went crazy. Tien wasn't all that bothered by it though, because he had something more serious to think about. Raditz, is this something only your family can do, or is this a Saiyan thing? This question immediately brought the gang's mood from flustered to downright scared. Every Saiyan transforming into a super-powered version of themselves was a nightmare. Kami was also silently sitting with them all this time, because he really doesn't consume food. He was also very worried because of this new information. So he decided to do his duty as the guardian of Earth and the creator of Dragon Balls. Raditz, may I know how strong the enemies coming for the Dragon Balls are? We have to be prepared. Kami looked at Raditz earnestly, who by now had stopped eating and was listening. Seeing him listening, Kami spoke again, telling him in detail about their plight. All we know until now is that they are strong. It would be great if you can give us an idea of what we are up against. Yamcha nodded as well at Kami's words. Yeah man, it would help knowing how we stack up against them. Though because of Raditz and Rashi's discussion, Bulma had some idea about this detail. She decided to let Raditz take this one. He was the one who knew his old partners the best, and Raditz did take this on, as he put his bowl down and assumed a thinking pose. Well, if we go by numbers, you Kami are at 150, Krillin is a 230, Yamcha is a 190, Triclops, you are a 300, and your friend here is a 170. Raditz simply sensed them and gave the rough numbers they were currently at, because they still had a lot of training to do. They weren't as powerful. Even though not as strong as they would be later on, Raditz knew they would power up from their original levels significantly. Pointing towards his scouter he specified, my hands are dirty so I can't give you the exact numbers, but I have pretty good idea what energy level is what value. Because the scouters had a habit of blowing up, Raditz simply decided to remember what level of ki was being marked down as what value. This would let him gauge strength even if the scouter becomes unusable in the future for some reason. No way, Kami is the weakest one here. Krillin's disbelief-filled exclamation brought Raditz's attention back to them. So he decided to continue and let them understand exactly what they were up against. In front of Kami's wry smile, Raditz spoke what he remembered about their powers. While I don't know about everyone's progress, but Kami must be doing something right. Krillin was at 206 last time I detected him. Raditz didn't go into much detail, but Kami had a thankful smile on his face nonetheless. While he didn't mind too much, this showed Raditz wasn't as evil as they had previously believed. Maybe, after this Saiyan debacle was over, he might ask Raditz to take his mantle. Krillin was meanwhile laughing with an embarrassed look. Wow, I guess I made a lot of progress huh? Raditz smirked and shook his head with a dignified expression. While that is indeed true, it's not nearly enough. I am the weakest amongst them, and I am at a 2,700 right now. No way, exclaimed Chitsu, as he was baffled by the huge-sounding number. He was really bad with numbers. But even he understood, their levels had a massive gap. But Raditz didn't stop because of the shock. He continued with a dignified face. Nappa, my previous mentor and the second strongest guy, is at a 4,000, and the strongest amongst us is Vegeta, he is at 18,000. Silence was upon the lookout as the Z-fighters were shocked at just how outclassed they really were. Even Tien, who was wondering if he should ask about his ancestral planet after the feast, was not in the mood anymore. This was a really bad news, but Tien wasn't one to just roll over and die. He was a warrior to his last breath. Anything else we need to know about? Any weakness we can exploit? Yamcha was awakened by Tien's words and added hastily. Yeah, like the tail? Wasn't that Goku's weakness? But Raditz shook his head. This thinking was something which had cost the Z-fighters their lives against Nappa. It's a weakness they had overcome long ago, and so have I after my last battle. It's not a viable option. Snapping his fingers, Raditz dropped the last tidbit they needed to know. And our transformation, they both can do it. They don't lose their minds either. It's a 10 times boost to our strength. Kami pursed his lips and grabbed his staff with strength. This was just awful. So their maximum strength is 40,000 and 180,000 respectively. Raditz's nod was all it took for Krillin to lay flat on his back. He was just about done. What was he going to do? He was but a small fry of 250. Looking up at the sky, Krillin said weakly, Hey Bulma, you have the Dragon Balls on hand. Bulma looked at Krillin and said with a confused expression. Yeah, what do you want? Looking at her, Krillin said with a questioning tone. Can't we hide the earth or something? You know, like the lookout, so they can't land here in the first place. Tien immediately shook his head at that with a stern expression. No, hide if you want, I am not turning my back and running away. Krillin looked up again and whined loudly. Oh man, we are all gonna die. Even if he said that he got up from his daze, with an expression that practically screamed he was not looking forward this, but even with that, he was nonetheless ready to face the Xians yet again. Their desire to fight had once more ignited the gang's worsening spirit, and Kami gave a gratified smile. He might have to pull out the hyperbolic time chamber ahead of time. Heh, they always do this. Raditz smiled along with their enthusiasm as he felt for himself just how this diverse group of people acted as a whole. They had their unique styles, even if it felt they were taking the hard way forward. This was the kind of mentality that pushed them to the heights no human had ever reached before. Snap out of it, Raditz. Let's party? We have to really go all out after this? Raditz simply shrugged at Yamcha and joined the feast yet again. This was a kind of energy even his scouter couldn't calculate. Chapter 22 Transform. Alright, I'll be off then, Raditz. Watching Poor leave, Yamcha looked back towards Raditz and spoke while walking towards him. Did you learn the technique? I tried to before, just couldn't do it, man. Raditz silently opened his eyes after hearing Yamcha's call. He was just about done reading Poor's memory. After their feast was finished, Poor had come to him, and Raditz capitalized on the free time to learn the technique straight from memory. Yeah, I think I get what this technique is all about, an ingenious use of ki, the whole body is physically morphed. Turning towards Bulma, who was sitting beside him and looked quite confused at the ki talk, Raditz spoke in words she would understand better. Think of my real body being made of clay. Everyone's ki remembers their original shapes by default, so I can safely mold the clay into any shape I want. Putting his hands together and imitating a famous ninja god, Raditz shouted. Transformation. Poof. The Z-fighters looked over and saw a large amount of smoke being released after the shout, and stopped their business for a second. As the smoke cleared, they saw an alien creature in Raditz's place, a short creature with pink arms and legs. It had a natural upper armor made of white material, a large purple gem adorned the center of its chest and the entire upper portion of its head. Ho ho ho, this is quite the technique. With a unique low-pitched voice that was simply pure evil, the transformed Raditz swung his thick, purple-tipped pink tail. Thump. The tail smack caused everyone else to get over the fact of watching a real-life alien and start talking again. Bulma was the first to talk with an expression that showed she ate something really nasty. Ew, what is this, Raditz? Where's your gruff manly voice? Yamcha meanwhile rubbed his chin and defended Raditz on this as he touched the tips of the creature's black horns. Now wait a second, I think he looks pretty cool, considering he's probably an alien. This is a lot less gross than I initially thought. To which Raditz gave a low chuckle which would have sent a lot of people running in Universe 7. Because the creature Raditz had changed into was Frieza, that is my name, it's a pleasure to meet you. Bowing with a smile that no one would trust, Raditz finished his introduction in classic Frieza voice and etiquette. Poof. With that done, he transformed back into himself and Bulma backed away with a sigh of relief. Huff, I thought I will never see you again, said Bulma with an overdramatic look. The Z-fighters, seeing that Raditz had really learned the technique, got back into their business yet again. This was their priority right now, because they had some truly ferocious beings to fight against. Well, I'll be off then. Let's go, Bulma. I gotta use this technique on my manager too. He needs time to prepare as well. Sooner I do it the better. Sure thing, exclaimed Bulma and threw her airplane capsule over. With a puff the machine was unleashed and Bulma walked into it. Raditz meanwhile turned towards the Z-fighters and nodded to them with his hands folded. Be sure to train hard, those guys don't mess around. I can try to convince Nappa, he's an old friend. Vegeta, I am not so sure. Remember, do not hesitate to go for the kill if push comes to shove. With the Z-fighter's serious nod as an answer, Raditz turned back and got into the pilot's seat. Bulma left it for him this time around. She wanted him to take her back home, and Raditz had no desire to not drive an awesome flying machine. With the plane flying away, Kami decided to speak out, to get the Z-fighters prepared. While Raditz is strong, I am afraid he alone cannot do much, but becoming so strong quickly isn't doable, so everyone, you might have to visit that place. Come with me. With Kami turning around and going towards the deepest part of the lookout, the Z-fighters followed along with curious expressions. Everyone was prepared, nobody was not a fighter with their own pride, be it any challenge, they were ready to face it. Stopping before a large sturdy door, Kami spoke without looking back. We are here, the hyperbolic time chamber. The air stood still as the Z-fighters took in the entrance, which was supposed to be the key to their rapid improvement. Chapter 23 Capsule Corporation. Bulma was having a great time with Raditz. He was everything she ever wanted, so she was trying her best to make this work, Bulma style. Raditz, it's going to be dark soon, wanna come to my house for the night? Bulma turned to Raditz and asked with a pure smile, but Raditz didn't respond to the kind offer naively, for he could read minds. He hummed as he thought how he should go about this. The plans hatching in Bulma's mind were outrageous, but keeping in touch was always good. So Raditz thought of a compromise for now. Nah, I am good. How about this? Come to the Kame house tomorrow. We will hang out after I finish my training. Sigh. Bulma gave an audible sigh as her idea didn't work out. She had a whole thing planned in her head for tonight. Pity, she will have to make do with this. If only Rashi wasn't there to mess with the atmosphere. Well, we could hang out tomorrow then. We can also start working on upgrading C-18. Compromising for now, Bulma gave out an offer she knew he wouldn't refuse, upgrading this flying machine, capsule number 18. This way they will spend a lot of time together discussing things he loves. Now that she thinks about it, this works too. Sure thing, I'll bring my spaceship by then. I think Miguel wanted to take a look at it. Hopefully she didn't misplace the parts. Raditz murmured the last part as he remembered how ditzy she could get sometimes, but Bulma snapped her head towards Raditz at the comment. With wide eyes she asked him the first thing that came to her mind. Who is that? Understanding that she came off a little strong, Bulma gave a silly laugh right after. But Raditz didn't mind, as his mind was currently on if or not his spaceship was fine. Her? I think her stage name was Angel? She was a pretty famous singer a few years ago. I live with her family right now. Raditz oversimplified the explanation. Technically the house was now his and they were the ones who lived with him. Bulma racked her brain and finally remembered the beautiful lady named Angel. Her? Wasn't she married to a martial arts master a while back? Oh thank God. Huh. Looking at Raditz's questioning face, Bulma corrected herself. I mean thank God you have a good family giving you shelter, but Raditz you can't always impose on them. You can come to my house. My father is the richest man in the world. We have plenty of space for you. Resisting the urge to say he might soon overtake her father in wealth if his plan worked out, Raditz kept mum. And only nodded after thinking about it for a while. All right, he could fly. He would go to Satan Manor quickly if need arises. Yes. Bulma this time around didn't even bother hiding her happiness, as she celebrated right there on the plane. Raditz didn't care and smiled along. It was good for him too. The technology hub of Earth was going to be his home for the foreseeable future it seems. Using this opportunity to learn everything he could from Dr. Briefs was his idea. He was the one who taught Bulma after all. Whoosh. Meanwhile they had arrived at Bulma's house while talking. Raditz slowed down the plane appropriately. Taking a look at the large building with Capsule Corporation written in bold, Raditz gave an impressed look. I think we are here. You weren't kidding, huh? This is a huge place, and is that an automatic tail massager I am seeing here? Sweet. Bulma's sweat dropped as she looked towards the automatic sausage tenderisser, aka the tail massager, and shook her head hard to deny Raditz's dangerous words. That is not a tail massager. Why would I even have that here? That's to make meat tender? Don't go putting your tail in it. Raditz scratched his hair looking at the machine. It was very much looking like a device he saw on planet Masa. I see. Well, this design is something I have seen used for tail massaging. I didn't know meat here was so weak it breaks down with such little force. Bulma heaved a sigh. This was so hard. All of her friends were out there. She would have to make sure Raditz understands things around here. Well, it's not. Don't go touching anything on your own, all right? At least learn what does what first. Shrugging without a care, Raditz landed the plane in the lawn, as he spoke while parking. Cut me some slack. I am new to this planet, and your house is high-tech. Bulma again sighed but this time had a smile on her lips. The high-tech stuff laying around was their pride and joy after all. Bulma went out opening the door and Raditz came out right after, just in time to see a beautiful blonde lady walking towards the duo. Oh my, Bulma, you are home? Oh, are you her friend? Would you like some cookies, dear? Bulma waved her hand at her mom, Panchi, and shouted. Mom, I will take care of him myself. Panchi tilted her head with her ever-present smile and closed eyes as she giggled. Oh Bulma, don't be like that. I'll bring you guys something to eat. And with that Panchi left with a happy mood, leaving Bulma to chase after her, as her mom would never listen anyway. Raditz meanwhile was left alone and silently touched his chin, looking thoughtfully towards the tail massager. Chapter 24 Assassin Raditz was flying over the night sky with a content look on his face. The time he had spent at Capsule Corporation was good for both his body and tail. Well, his mind too. Panchi was such a fun person to be around. She resembled Jin in quite a few ways. She is a good mother and host, might even talk an Uzuru out of its rage if she had her way. Raditz thought as he flew at mild speeds over the dense jungle. The silent jungle was his only company in this cold night. But Raditz didn't mind. He was an easygoing man. This was why he managed to fit in with his new identity without much hassle, but he truly felt at ease only just now. Panchi sure has her way with words. Mr. Briefs too. They are one easygoing family. After all, they are the ones who refused to hide in the lookout, even when Earth was about to be destroyed. The couple's attitude at life was astonishing. It rubbed off Raditz. It made him feel he had found his place here at last. And he also hoped in a corner of his mind that this peaceful environment would help him unlock his Super Saiyan quicker. But even if I don't get any of the super transformations, I can always make do with a Kari and Uzuru. Raditz muttered as he flew around a particularly large tree blocking his path. Even if it was midnight, Raditz wasn't in a hurry to return. He was taking his time. He wanted to be alone for a while. Boom. As Raditz was flying through the forest, another man was getting smashed through walls in a corner of the city. Ugh, shit, how did you find me? Said Scale as he held his chest, aching from the sudden jab he had received from his attacker. You have quite the nerve to be following around an assassin. Who sent you? said a voice from the dark reaches of the alley. Only a glowing red eye was visible in the dark, showing that someone was indeed still there. Scale managed to get up staggeringly by now. He had been his fair share of fist fights, but a battle of this level was a first for him. As expected of mercenary Tao, you are a beast, but I carry no ill will. ****. Scale grabbed his throat as his eyes opened wide. A yellow ray had flashed and went straight through his throat. He was hit by a Dodon ray. Not used to such fights, Scale was caught off guard, but he knew this much. Taking an attack from an assassin head-on was never good news. Bang! Scale fell down with a bang as he began to see hazy. His eyes flashed with fear as he remembered his family. His wife Ruli and his son, Sharpiner. ****. Mercenary Tao walked towards the struggling Scale and looked down without emotion, as the man began to bleed out. He was only here to check if his kill was done correctly. As an assassin he doesn't have to habit to leave people alive. He had learned his lesson with that monkey boy Gaku. Losing half of his body to his own attack made him more brutal. You shouldn't have followed me, now die. Dodon Ra. Mercenary Tao immediately jumped backwards as his remaining human skin began to sweat. He just felt a threat coming from that man. His experience with Gaku had made him jumpy, so he didn't want to take any chances. What's going on? Why did he leave? Is it that energy boss Raditz gave me? Wait, is that how I am still alive? Scale managed to figure out in this critical situation that the only thing that can scare a monster was another monster. But what do? I don't know how to heal myself. How do I heal myself? Energy heal me please? Scale yelled within his mind as he tried his best to get up, and he was indeed beginning to feel an itch, but it was nearly not enough. No, it's not you, it's something on you. No matter what it is, it doesn't matter. Dodon Ray. Mercenary Tao had by now figured Scale indeed wasn't a threat unless he went close, so he decided to finish the job from afar. As Scale's eyes contracted and he kept trying to get up or move out of the way, Mercenary Tao's aim suddenly changed. ****. Two sounds were heard in the dark alleyway, the Dodon Ray missing its target and hitting the floor, and a bullet hitting Mercenary Tao's cyborg hand, bouncing off him. This is a robbery. Hands up. You hear me? A blonde girl with aggressive eyes walked in with a gun in her hand. While walking she saw how her target had bounced off her previous bullet and narrowed her eyes. I said hands up punk. Reaching behind her back she pulled out a submachine gun and pointed it right at Mercenary Tao, who looked at her grimly. This made two people who had survived his Dodon Ray in a row. He was not happy. I know you are that bank robber, Launch. You shouldn't have put your nose in others' business. I am not someone you can wave that toy at. ***. Detaching his hand from his wrist, Mercenary Tao pointed his energy cannon at blonde Launch. He will finish the job in one shot. Chapter 25 Knockout Raditz was pretty pissed and currently speeding through the city. He was feeling his given energy flickering restlessly. It's either Scale doing a stupid stunt and getting reeked or Tao Pai Pai got to him. Talk about ruining a perfectly good night. ***. Speeding up, Raditz rushed towards Scale's energy signature as fast as he could. Meanwhile Scale was panting as he kept his finger pointed towards Mercenary Tao. His finger was smoking and so was the gun of the blonde named Launch. Tao was looking at Scale with a hideous expression. He was badly hurt from the energy beam impacting him out of nowhere. You bastard! What did you do? Fumed Tao Pai Pai. He didn't understand. How could that energy beam hurt him so much? He was badly burned even after blocking it. It even overpowered his super Dodon Ray. This situation was looking more and more dicey by the second. I might need to run. That blonde girl, while not a threat, is too much of a menace, and this man is plain weird. Narrowing his eyes, Mercenary Tao decided to book it. Acting like he was about to attack he quickly took out a smoke bomb and then... ***boom***. What the hey, get back ***. Launch was about to chase but the smoke got into her lungs and Tao Pai Pai was already out of her vision. Don't chase, you can't take him alone. Damn, don't give me that shit. Ayako, ***poof***. Oh my, what's with all this smoke? Looking at the dazed blue-haired girl standing in place of the violent blonde, Scale's eyes widened. He was wondering if he had lost too much blood and was seeing things. OMR, why are you lying on the ground? Why am I holding this thing? What is it, I wonder? The blue-haired Launch tilted her head cutely as she attempted to remember why she was here again. And Scale was feeling pretty desperate. His only backup was out, and if that assassin worked anything like he did, he was still around somewhere, looking for a chance to strike. What is this? A trap? And Scale was indeed right on mark because Tao Pai Pai was hiding on a roof watching them, waiting for them to drop their guard. And he had seen enough to know this ragtag group might actually be a lost cause as long as he strikes hard. I should get close. Dodon Ray has failed too many times today. I'll use these hands to finish them off. Jumping from the roof of the building, Mercenary Tao landed right in front of the duo. He was looking at them with angry eyes, but in reality he was trying to check for traps. Scale, seeing blue-haired Launch looking at Mercenary Tao with curious eyes, realized she wasn't kidding. He might have to do something himself. ***. Oh no you don't. As soon as Tao Pai Pai saw Scale attempting his weirdly harmful attack again, he struck. ***boom***. And the attack did indeed land, but it wasn't Scale's head getting bashed as Tao Pai Pai had hoped, it was his own fist hitting a rock-hard chest, almost crushing his bones. Tao Pai Pai was about to look up and see who stood towering before him, but something else caught his eye, something brown and long. Tail? A monkey tail? Gaku. Eyes popping open, Tao Pai Pai screamed with fear as he attempted to back away. Clench asterisk. But was stopped right in his tracks, because this hunk of a man held his hands with grip stronger than his cyborg body can muster. Gaku, I will never forget you, what are you doing here? Are you here for my life? Mercenary Tao looked up and saw the strong man with long spiky hair looking down at him. He attempted to get free from the man's grip but was completely stuck. Raditz meanwhile looked at Scale and nodded at him. Good job, now rest, I'll deal with this. Thanks, boss. Scale dragged himself away even after saying that, because he wasn't sure if Raditz could win without trouble. As far as he was concerned, both of these guys were complete monsters. Clench asterisk. Grabbing the metallic arm tighter, Raditz ignored the sparks flying off the arm and looked at Tao Pai Pai with interest. Oh, Gaku? I didn't know you knew my brother, but I am not him, I am Raditz, his older brother and his better. Tao Pai Pai was both relaxed with this not being Gaku and also not, because this man was supposedly better than Gaku. At least he was definitely better than him, so it made no difference to him. Is it you who asked your man to follow me? What is it you need? Doesn't matter who you want killed, I'll do it. Tao Pai Pai put his chips out, realizing he might have to talk his way out of this. As for if he will really do what he said, that was up to him completely. But it seems Gaku's brother wasn't as naive as Gaku was. I have what I want right here, mercenary. You killed the master of my manager a while back. He has some business with you. Sleep for now. Bem asterisk. Hitting Tao's neck with a quick chop, Raditz carried his limp body on his shoulder, then turned to look at the blue-haired girl standing in a daze, looking at his tail. That's impolite, miss. My eyes are up here. Putting his hand on his waist, Raditz turned to Launch, who looked up with a smile. Oh sorry MR, you reminded me of my friend. He also had a tail like this, but I don't know where to find him. I am lost. Meanwhile Raditz was wondering how she missed the entire conversation he had just now, where he purposely let everyone know he was Gaku's brother. Talk about an airhead, whatever, now that he has found Launch, he will take her back to Kame House. Not knowing how to get back might be why she didn't return. Chapter 26. Blowing up. Satan was sweating waterfalls and simultaneously shaking in his boots. He was hardly able to sit still. It's horrible, he is that guy with the weird hair. Raditz looked at Satan, who was still making fun of the unconscious mercenary Tao's hairstyle. This was something that almost got him killed a while back, and his master really did die because of this. Satan has some truly big balls to say this again. Be careful, Satan, you know this guy isn't really unconscious, majority of his head is cybernetic, he can't be knocked out. As if on cue, mercenary Tao's eyes snapped open and he glared at Satan. His act was obviously seen through. Looking towards Satan's family, Tao's desire to end them in front of Satan increased manifolds. This guy is the reason I am in such deep trouble. I should have finished the job back then. Bem asterisk. Hitting Tao's head with a punch, Raditz made him collapse into a heap of sparking parts. Looking at the shocked mercenary Tao, Raditz frowned. Don't go thinking wild things about this family. They work for me. Do you understand, mercenary? Bzzt asterisk. Nodding his head with a sparking neck, Tao bent his head and hid his angry face. He was a martial artist. He will not be humiliated like this. He was so pissed off right now he could blow himself up. He should still have that module installed. Raditz meanwhile was wondering what to do with this guy. He wanted to give him to Satan, so Satan can end his enmity with him. But looking at Satan, he doesn't seem to want to do anything at all. He in fact wants to run away quickly. Shame really, I would have helped my manager out. Shaking his head, Raditz removed the disappointment bubbling up within him. He can't expect everyone to have the courage of a Sion. Alright, I'll get rid of. Gaku? Tao Pai Pai had enough. He was done. He wasn't about to fall into the hands of another Gaku. This time around he would take him down with him. He was mercenary Tao, an assassin with his own twisted pride. He will always have the last word, no matter the means. Boom asterisk. A massive blast shook the Satan Manor. Fire poured out of the windows and doors were blasted open. Whoosh asterisk. A large flame lit the garden surrounding Satan Manor. The self-destruction of a martial arts master with a power level of 210 was immense. The situation was grim, but if anyone was to really look into it, they would find something weird. The Satan Manor was still standing, with no damage in sight, except the burning garden outside. Cough asterisk. Ahem, like I was saying, I'll get rid of his remains. You guys handle the cleaning. All of the Satan family and Scale looked at Raditz with terrified and confused expressions. Well, except Launch, who seemed oblivious to anything but Raditz's tale. Boss, we could have died. You saved us, boss. How did you do it? There isn't a burn mark around? Vidal, who was held in her mother's hands out of fear, also exclaimed with stars in her eyes. Yeah, Uncle Raditz? I saw a lot of fire rushing towards me, but then it wasn't hot. You are so cool. Raditz humped at that, looking at Cyborg Tao doing his best Yamcha impression. He spat. I could sense it the moment this guy initiated self-destruct. His power spike was pretty large, so I covered this entire place in psychic barrier. Nothing this weak can penetrate Raditz's barrier, unless it's a concentrated attack like special beam cannon. If Tao went for his Super Dodon Ray using all his energy behind the attack, Raditz might need to dodge, but nothing else would work on him. This is horrible. Is he dead? The trembling Satan asked with a scared expression. Raditz meanwhile pondered on this while looking at the corpse of mercenary Tao. He was too hasty. I would have let him go with a warning if he behaved himself, but it seems his hatred for brother was a bit too much. While Raditz didn't have any desire to kill him, he wasn't about to wish Tao back with the Dragon Balls or something either. Shrugging his shoulders, Raditz decided to pick up the smoldering Tao on his shoulder. While this guy is pretty evil, his skills are worthy of praise. Wasn't he half cyborg? Let's make a full cyborg out of him. Bulma should get enough inspiration from Android 8's design. Deciding to create an Android 16 of his own, Raditz put another tick on his list, but that was for later. He had more important things right now. Looking towards Launch, who was still in a world of her own, Raditz twitched his lips. Launch, right? I saw your photo in Master Roshi's magazine, his photo frame. You said you were lost? Looking up at Raditz, Launch clapped her hands and gave a big smile. Yes? Can you take me back? That would be lovely. Hearing her talk, Scale wasn't able to connect this ditzy woman with the insane blonde who was gunning down the mercenary. How did she live until now with an attitude like this? Scale couldn't figure this out for the life of him, so he stopped caring about it altogether. He had his own problems to worry about. Like healing this hole in his neck and getting his pay from Raditz, he did after all find Tao. Yes, Satan, pay Scale for his work, and Scale, leave your phone number. I'll contact you when I want something done. Giving a smile after his pay was set, Scale saluted Raditz and spoke with vigor. Yes boss, I am always ready. Just let me handle everything. All you have to do is ask. Good, I'll remember that. We should get going too. Coiling his tail around Launch, Raditz held onto her shoulder for additional support. After putting Tao Pai Pai on the opposite shoulder, he blasted off. Whoosh asterisk. Looking at Raditz flying away, Miguel finally brought her attention back to the manor. Honey, we should call someone. Our garden is on fire. Oh no, I'll call right away. Satan ran to call the firefighters and Miguel took Videl to her room. Scale just kind of sat there, wondering if these people were going to forget his pay after all. Chapter 27. Launch. Raditz was once again flying through the night sky, but this time with Launch in tow. He was using a key barrier to make sure she doesn't transform on him, resulting in him dropping her or something. That was a thing he would rather avoid. Looking at Launch smilingly widely and gazing at the scenery down below, Raditz sped up. We are almost there. Hang on tight. Whoosh asterisk. Grabbing onto Raditz tighter, Launch's eyes darted towards his face, giving another happy smile. Launch closed her eyes and hung onto him. She was finally returning home. She was tired of roaming the world again. It's great that I found you, thought Launch. She might seem ditzy to everyone, but even she knew something tended to happen when she sneezed, something that kept people away from her. So Launch was really happy that Raditz didn't avoid her, just like her friends back at Kame House always kept her around no matter how many times she sneezed. This was why she always called that place her home, and why she wanted to return. Woo asterisk. A slight jerking motion made Launch open her eyes, and the sight before her had her bubble with happiness. Kame House? I finally found it. Raditz smiled as well, landing on the ground. His plan was to spend the night at Satan's, but he had to bring Launch back. At least I have added the transformation to Satan. As long as Satan wills it, he will change into me. I don't need to hurry. Turning towards Launch, who was looking at Kame House in a daze, Raditz nudged her along. Let's go. It's night time. I think even you need to sleep, don't you? Looking at Raditz, Launch chuckled and closed her hands together. That would be lovely. I'll show you the room? Question marks were forming on Raditz's forehead. She was the one who returned. Why is she acting like she is the hostess? And on top of that, Raditz told her to sleep, not that he wanted to do so. Well, I suppose I gotta spend the night somewhere, be it Kame House. Shrugging, Raditz came along without a care. He could sense Roshi was asleep right now, so he didn't go to greet the master. Roshi would know they were here as soon as he wakes up, but Launch seemed to not know that. Oh no, Master Roshi is asleep. What do I do? Launch thought aloud, turning towards the guest room of the hut, which was Krillin's old room. Launch patted her hands together and pulled Raditz along. Looking at Launch trying to pull his hands, Raditz started walking too, or she would keep trying to pull him like an immovable object. Walking into the room, Launch turned on the lights. Oh my, it's so dirty. Launch exclaimed, looking at the perfectly okay room, at least to Raditz's size. My previous life's room was worse than this, and Raditz himself slept on dirt. But who was he to tell a housework expert what was dirty and what was not? Somehow pulling out a duster from a corner, Launch tied her hair back with a ribbon. I'll clean up here. It's too dirty. You don't have to wait for me. I'll be done in a jiffy. Nodding his head, Raditz relaxed and went to bed. Climbing on top of it, he pulled on the covers and looked at Launch. Can you turn off the lights after you are done? Seriously nodding while dusting a table, Launch gave a smile. Yes, now sleep, shoo. Smiling because of seeing the ditzy Launch get serious for once, Raditz closed his eyes and slept off. Launch, seeing that, slowed down her movements, to not wake Raditz up, and it worked. Raditz slept soundly. Right until now. What? Feeling a nudge, Raditz woke up in a daze and looked around the dark room, his eyes adjusting to the lack of light quickly. Turning towards the thing that disturbed him, he saw his covers bulging and a head full of dark blue hair sticking out. Seriously. After being stunned for a second, Raditz patted his forehead. While situations like these were common back at planet Vegeta, this wasn't Vegeta. But Raditz's main issue was not that, it was something his brother had already experienced before. Launch while sleeping can also transform. Being the crazy killer she was, she ended up attacking Goku that one time, which resulted in her getting one shot by him instantly. But walking up with a gun to my head is not a good morning alarm, so this won't do at all. Launch. Calling her name, Raditz woke Launch up, who was not so much asleep as she trying to sleep. Huh? What is it? Looking at her silly look, Raditz shook his head. Looking at her funny, he asked, "Why did you climb into my bed?" Tilting her head, Launch said as if obvious, "We only have 2 rooms, Master Roshi is in the other one. Did I disturb you? Sorry." Looking at her, Raditz gave up looking for an answer. He wasn't about to get a better one. "It's fine, just remember to tie your hair, we don't want you sneezing." Okay. Launch tied her hair with her ribbon and Raditz went back to sleep. But Launch was now wide awake, so after just a little while she turned towards Raditz. Twiddling her fingers she whispered, "Are you awake?" "Yes." And so Launch scooting closer kickstarted Raditz's sleepless night. He learned something that night. Launch had way too much energy. She could go on and on and on. From where she got all that energy to keep talking was beyond Raditz. Chapter 28. Baba, so you are telling me nothing happened? You didn't? You know? Roshi asked with a weird look on his face. When he had sensed Launch and Raditz in his room this morning, he didn't think he would find them like that. What do you mean? Seeing Raditz giving the exact same lost expression that Goku gave when Roshi asked where Gohan came from, Roshi gave up directly. "You are Goku's brother, all right, but Launch, why are you blushing?" Involuntarily raising his voice at the latter part, Roshi asked with a fiery desire to know, for research purposes? To the sudden question thrown her way, Launch exclaimed with surprise, then covering her face she ran, throwing an excuse to Roshi. "I'll bring you breakfast." Looking at the running Launch and chilled out Raditz, Roshi frowned, a total mystery. But Roshi was a master after all, a master of many arts, not only fighting. "Eehehe, Raditz, come here for a second." Flinching back slightly, Raditz regained his balance. He knew what Roshi wanted to ask. "No way, Master Roshi, I am starving, I will go see what Launch is cooking, see ya." Narrowing his eyes, Roshi looked at Raditz go into the kitchen and vanish behind Launch. Sighing after his plan failing, he took out a cassette tape from his collection. "Looks like it's only you and me again." Ignoring the weird laughing noises coming from the room behind him, Raditz sat on the kitchen counter and looked at Launch cooking. Why did you come, Raditz? I can do it myself." The still embarrassed Launch attempted to shoo Raditz away, who wasn't ready to move. "No way, I want to watch." You want to watch me? Okay." Gulping down the rest of his sentence, where he was about to say he wanted to watch the food getting cooked, Raditz stayed silent. He and Launch got to know a lot about each other last night, and that included the existence of blonde Launch, and some more stuff that Raditz assumed was the cause of Launch's embarrassment. "Are you leaving after this?" Launch muttered, barely making a sound. After yesterday night she didn't want to separate from Raditz so soon. Even after she sneezed and blacked out, she was sitting normally after regaining her senses. It was like she hadn't sneezed at all. This has never happened to her before. Even with her friends here, after she sneezed there were many weird things she didn't understand, like broken buildings, scattered things, but not with Raditz. "I am sticking around. I train with Master Roshi here." Launch smiled involuntarily. If Raditz was here she would feel safe and warm. It would be just like yesterday. "I see." With that both felt silent, Raditz busy looking at the sizzling meat on the stove, and Launch busy taking peeks at Raditz and smiling. Launch was glad to have met Raditz, in more than one ways. Time passed quickly for Launch, and after everyone finished eating, it was time for Raditz and Roshi to train. Just when they were about to get up after, Raditz called out to Roshi. "Master, I need a favor," asked Raditz with his hands folded. Launch stopped picking up the dishes and Roshi stopped preparing himself for a fight. "Huh? What is it?" asked Roshi, intrigued at what Raditz wanted to ask. It must be something important if Raditz calls it a favor, and Roshi wasn't disappointed. "Master, can you arrange a meeting with your sister? I have to ask her something." Roshi exclaimed. He had many things he thought Raditz could ask, but setting up a meeting with his sister wasn't one of them. "You want to meet her? Well, I suppose I can arrange that. But what is it you need of her?" Launch was also curious. She didn't know Master Roshi had a sister, but weirdly enough, Raditz turned to look at her after this. "Fortune teller Baba is the best magic user I know. I think Launch's condition has something to do with magic. I could sense quite a few intriguing things yesterday. Her changing the way she does, manifesting guns and ammunition. Launch has latent magic ability, I am sure of it." Raising his sunglasses and eyebrows together, Roshi looked at Launch intently, and Launch herself was covering her mouth while looking at Raditz. "Thank you." Very uncharacteristically, Launch launched herself across the room to give Raditz a hug. While she didn't get what he said about her changing and this gun thing, she knew he was doing this all to help her. What more could she ask for? It was the happiest day of her life. "Alright, I'll call her." I didn't think Launch was using magic all this time. Roshi's words had Raditz nod, but he knew this was very much possible. Earth was very diverse. Boss Rabbit existed on Earth. He had Majin Buu like magic abilities too, but instead of turning people into candy he turned them into carrots. Rashi's sister herself was connected to the other world and had all kinds of weird people amongst her ranks, invisible man, vampire, and so much more. Launch clearly wasn't an alien and showed manifesting abilities. This being magic made the most sense, even if it was not. Taking a look won't hurt. Okay, I'll call her in the evening. She gets grumpy otherwise, but she might not answer and you might have to make a trip yourself. Nodding lightly at Rashi's words, Raditz agreed, but he wasn't about to make a trip if not absolutely necessary. Baba had some weird tournament rules. Raditz didn't want to waste too much time fighting long-dead guys. Who knows, she might even pull Bardock Engine out to fight him. She after all totally pulled out Grandpa Gohan against Goku, and was 100% capable of pulling Super Saiyan 3 Goku out of the other world. Chapter 29 Ocean Dive *bang***. *bang***. Stop, that's enough for now Raditz. Rashi stopped the spar with Raditz. They were going on for about an hour now and Raditz was learning remarkably fast. ***. Releasing a breath, Raditz rubbed his shoulders, the parts where he was hit the most. Training in Ultra Instinct was very hard. Even if he had everything down pat, it was difficult, but at least his power level was increasing pretty fast. Master, I can go on. Regaining his energy back with a little bit of rest, Raditz radiated strength again. But Rashi shook his head and denied Raditz's request. Don't be hasty, we are training your instincts, you can't rush it. Too much training and your body will get confused. Taking on his master pose, Rashi lectured Raditz with seriousness. The only thing more sparring will do now is make you develop bad habits. Scratching his long mane, Raditz shrugged helplessly. But without that my power level won't increase faster. While I am getting stronger day by day naturally, I would have liked to speed up the progress just a bit more. Again shaking his head, Rashi gave his advice while walking towards his beach chair. But power without control is nothing. Your naturally increasing energy levels are in perfect control right now. Well, I suppose it'll be fine. Sitting down on his chair, Rashi finally decided to allow Raditz more training. Personally he wanted his pupil to grow in a balanced way. But he could see the need for power in Raditz's size. It wasn't too noticeable but it was there. Rashi assumed it was due to him needing to face his previous partners. More fighting won't do you any good. You can't get much exercise delivering milk either. Let's see, I suppose swimming will have to do. Twitching his eyes at Rashi's training regimen, the exact same all of his pupils went through, Raditz wondered how Master will make this work for him. He can't exactly get training done while a shark is chasing him. The shark can't even scratch him even if he sat there and let it attack. Alright, you go and start swimming. Keep doing it until you run out of breath. Opening his eyes a little wider, something clicked inside Raditz. He understood what Rashi was telling him to do. You don't mean I need to swim in there? Pointing towards the vast ocean around the island, Raditz asked again. There, deep inside the ocean. Nodding his head with his sunglasses reflecting light, Rashi took out his magazine. Of course, the pressure should be plenty for you, and the lack of air will force you just fine. Now go, hang in there. Raditz smiled and let out chuckle. Rashi found a good substitute indeed. Instead of the usual sharks it was Raditz's own lack of oxygen. Instead of tiring muscles it was his body losing strength when holding his breath for long time. And lastly, the need to concentrate all his energy, everything to stay alive in the deep waters when he starts running out of air. I guess that's gonna be a rough one. I hope I don't drown. While this training did seem dangerous enough, Raditz wasn't about to go in headfirst without testing how to get out in case of an emergency. He wanted to do a test run before that, like normal people should do. Raditz would rather not scream danger and opportunities coexist. Let's gamble? And run forward like an utter fool. He didn't have the thick plot armor he needed to survive that. Okay then, launch, Master Rashi, I will be off. *whoosh*. Taking off in a jiffy Raditz flew through the air while practicing holding his breath. He never tried to in this body until now. He really didn't have an idea how capable of such a feat was his Saiyan body. Wait, does Sanaki boost apply to this? If I hold my breath until I am near death will I get a boost? Then can't I just sit and hold my breath until I am the strongest? Nah, that can't be right. That sounded too busted to be possible. It's probably only applicable to actual wounds and stuff, but Raditz will give it a try anyway. What if it works? What Broly? What Boris? What Grand Priest? Everyone step aside, let me hold my breath. ***. Alright, that's enough daydreaming. My time limit is 3 minutes, pretty good for a first try. Breathing in some air again, Raditz calculated his rough time limit. It was good enough for him right now. But he knew he could do better. Even regular humans back at his original universe had people who could hold their breath for 20+ minutes. Best of all, I am a Saiyan. Getting used to incredibly tough conditions is in my blood. Paragus and Broly didn't survive Vampa by chance. It's their nature as a Saiyan that made it possible. Currently hovering over the ocean, Raditz was but a dot in the sky for the observing Master Rashi and launch. And this dot could be seen descending down feet first, slowly reaching the water surface. Looking down, Raditz took a deep breath and dived in. It's cold, good thing I have my armor on. His armor was plenty lightweight and insulating, so feeling comfortable in it Raditz swam deeper. Settling in the deep part of the ocean, Raditz found this to be a good test spot. He would try and see how long he can last, check his limits then blast off to the surface. Now all he needed was to calm down and let nature take its course. Closing his eyes, Raditz relaxed. His hands hung down and his hair floated up, and just like that time started passing, bit by bit. Asterisk tick asterisk. Asterisk tick asterisk. Asterisk tick asterisk. Every passing minute could be felt in the depths, but Raditz could hear nothing. Only the sound of gurgling water was ringing against his eardrums. In this ocean he was all alone, with only the sound of water to accompany him. His lungs wanted to breathe again, but he wanted to know what was down there. No matter how Raditz tried, he couldn't see the bottom. His sight was gradually obscured with no indication of what was below him. It was a dark, deep abyss. And if there is one thing that was true in any reality, it was when you stare at the abyss stares back. Asterisk blink asterisk. Two eyes looked at Raditz's floating body. Where light didn't exist, there existed a humanoid, quietly gazing at Raditz's gradually slack form. Its flipping fishtail was a clear indication that while the creature wanted to observe a bit more before making its move, it was almost ready to act. A/N. Fun fact, this creature is a canon character, a bit obscure but canon nonetheless. Chapter 30 Training Partner A/N. Pai seems to be fondly remembered, much more than I had originally anticipated. Who knew a character that appeared for around one panel would leave such a deep impression? I wonder what the reason might be. Must be her ability to ride the Nimbus. Not many can do that. Anyway, good work folks, trivia time's over, now on to the story. Raditz had closed off all his senses and was simply floating in the deep ocean. No key sense, no wandering mind, only pure stillness, so when he abruptly felt a pair of eyes staring at him closely, his eyes snapped open. Phew. Asterisk glug asterisk. Raditz swiftly closed his mouth with his face turning blue and ran for the surface, leaving the owner of the curious eyes startled. Watching the man that should be drowning leave for the surface swiftly, the creature hesitated a bit then followed behind. Asterisk blurb asterisk. Asterisk splash. Asterisk. Cough cough, shit, I almost drowned, that got me. Coughing violently to remove the water that had started filling his lungs, Raditz somehow floated above the surface in a sitting posture. As he was trying to get his breath back, the water before him started bubbling and attracted Raditz's attention. Asterisk splash asterisk. With a bit of water splashing on him, a head full of purple hair emerged from the water, its owner being a human girl. Well, almost human, the barely visible fishtail flipping under her broke the immersion immediately. And Raditz meanwhile was pissed off, he almost drowned because she sneaked up on him quietly. What the hell? I could have died, you know? A reminder would have been great. I thought you were drowning, I wanted to help. Sorry. The startled mermaid gave an apologetic smile to Raditz, who by now had noticed her red shirt, more specifically what was written on it. Pai, she's the mermaid Gaku found back then. Did she settle in these waters or was she always here? Gaku just asked her to follow him? Understanding who he was talking to got Raditz to relax a bit. Pai was one of the very few who could ride the flying Nimbus. A pure of heart gentle creature. For reference, Bulma can't ride the flying Nimbus, no matter how much she insists it's the Nimbus who's at fault. Fine, name's Raditz. I am Pai, I am sorry for before. Again apologizing, Pai showed her pure Gaku-like nature completely, even though Raditz let it go, she herself felt bad. Hearing her name Raditz nodded curiously. Oh, Pai, as in the food? Pai, I see, I'll remember you. Pai sweat dropped and gave an embarrassed smile. While this was a weird way to remember someone's name, this wasn't the first time she had encountered this. A kid with a fluffy brown tail had said the same to her a few years ago. Wait, we have met before? I remember you, we visited that island together. Do you still have that cloud? I would love to sit on it again. Pai spoke a lot after she remembered where she had seen him before, his tail being a dead giveaway for her. But this caused Raditz to tilt his head. Huh? You can't know me, I just arrived here, maybe it's my brother that you saw. This had Pai visibly confused for a bit, then she somehow agreed, though she still felt that not many with such fluffy brown tail exist. Oh, do you have your brother's cloud then? Can you take me for a ride like before? Raditz was at a loss. While he wouldn't have minded taking her for a ride, he didn't know where the Nimbus was at. And even if he got one of his own, he wasn't sure he could qualify its heart purity test. Well, he might be able to cheat using nature key. I am not sure where brother kept it. I can't ask him either as he is dead, you see. He was killed by M-. Opening her eyes wide, Pai looked visibly startled and saddened. That's awful. I am sorry. Waving his hands, Raditz said without much care. It's fine, I will pull his soul out of Otherworld soon enough, don't worry about it. Pai looked a bit ashamed at reminding Raditz of such a bad news, and she felt worse at Raditz's comforting words. How can someone revive the dead? He was just trying to look on to false hope. She can't let him live in delusions like this. Swimming up to Raditz, Pai held his hands in her own and said with seriousness. It's okay, your brother is gone. Whoever killed your brother is an awful person. But we must look forward, dead can't come back, Raditz. Barely maintaining a shaky smile, Raditz looked at her a bit weirdly. He wasn't that awful. As for Dragonball revival, she didn't know that was pretty normal. She was barely a member of the main cast that hung around Kame House. Meanwhile, Pai found Raditz seemed okay enough and smiled happily. Letting his hands go, she circled around him like an enthusiastic fish. How are you sitting on water? Looking down at the rippling water, Raditz said in a matter-of-fact way. Oh this? I am not sitting, I am flying. Asterisk woo asterisk. Asterisk splash asterisk. Pushing himself a bit more distance from the surface, Raditz floated above the water, making Pai open her eyes with wonder. That's amazing. You can fly. Take me as well please? Giving her hands forward, Pai looked like she just found a mountain of gold. And Raditz by now realized she had a substantial desire to fly. She was stuck in water all her life after all, land and air was something she longed to see. But while Raditz didn't mind taking her for a ride, he was in the middle of training. Well, I would, but I am in the middle of my training you see. Putting her hands down with disappointment, Pai asked Raditz. What training? Pointing towards the deep sea, Raditz told what he wanted to do. I am going to practice swimming in the deep water. It's a kind of strength training. It would have worked best with a shark for me to chase, but alas, I gotta make do with holding my breath for now. Hearing that Pai brought her purple hair behind the ears, she then said with a mischievous look in her eyes. I can be your shark? I am very fast underwater. I have lived here all my life. But in exchange, how about you take me to fly afterwards? Seeing Pai looking at him like she found a solution to all their problems, Raditz smiled as well. I suppose, as long as I don't use my ki I should be able to get all the exercise I need. Fine, Pai from now on you are my shark. Okay, you shall be my cloud. After a moment of silence Raditz laughed boisterously, and agreed to be a Nimbus substitute for Pai. Alright, I think I have rested enough, now back to training, are you ready? Nodding her head, Pai swiftly put her head in the sea and swam away, her speed was indeed fast. She's fast, I expect nothing less from a mermaid, this is a way better workout plan than the original. Asterisk splash asterisk. Diving in himself Raditz followed behind Pai, using just his muscle power he swam. And so began a chase down at the ocean floor, a chase full of laughter, making Raditz realize this abyss wasn't so bad after all. Chapter 31 Case of the Missing Soul. It was night by the time Raditz left the ocean and returned back to Kame House. Did he forget to tell Rashi and Launch he would be this late? Yes. Did he also forget that he had an outing planned with Bulma this evening? Again yes. But Raditz couldn't really remember it with all the fun he was having training in the deep ocean with Pai. She was a great company in more than one way. My clothes are messed up and she scratched my back on top of that. She was way too into this. Fixing his pants and his out-of-place armor, Raditz slowly made his way to Kame House. He didn't blame Pai either, it was her first time. After all she didn't really train with anyone before Raditz, getting a bit overexcited was normal, she was just a lonely mermaid after all. I am back. Hurried steps rang inside the house and the door nearly flew off its hinges. Launch came out with a flustered expression which relaxed after seeing Raditz safe and sound. You are back. What took you so long? Asked Launch while attempting to fix Raditz's messed up and wet armor, something Raditz didn't mind either. Shrugging he remembered how he spent his day today. I was training, and learning a bit about mermaid biology I guess. Looking at the confused Launch, Raditz brought his hands up in a claw shape. They have sharp nails, it dug into even my skin, a mean evolutionary advantage. While Launch was a bit confused how Raditz went ahead and got himself scratched up by a mermaid, she wasn't going to ask right now, because she had much more pressing matters to attend to. That was the entire reason she was tidying up Raditz right outside the door. Is he here? Bring him in. That old voice was the thing she was preparing Raditz for. He cannot go and meet her looking like he just left the bed. Is that? Baba is here? Whispered Raditz and Launch nodded quickly, doing her best to make Raditz look more presentable. She opened the door and pulled Raditz in. Oh, you must be Baba, what's with the look in your eyes? Frowning for a second after noticing the weird looks Baba was giving him, Raditz went ahead and sat himself before her. Right besides Rashi who was keeping Baba company all this time. Not speaking a word of her own, Baba floated on top of her crystal ball and began spinning around Raditz ever so slowly. She wanted to take a close look at him before speaking her mind. Sue, is this some magic? Or are taking measurements to gift me clothes? Sarcastically asking Baba got her to stop her gawking and humph back to her position, but her curiosity got her to ask what was bugging her. How did you do it? Folding his hands Raditz raised his eyebrows. He was currently in a bit of a pickle as he couldn't get a mind read on Baba, so he didn't know what she actually found wrong about him. How did I do what? I am just sitting here. Slapping her forehead Baba grumbled about meatheads and Gaku's brother before telling him herself what's the problem. You buffoon, you shouldn't even be alive right now. When I searched for this Raditz who wanted to meet me, I found out that he is in hell, but brother said Raditz is with him? Pointing towards Rashi Baba yelled angrily, then huffed seeing Raditz's unfazed look. But internally he was spitting. Crap 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 crap. But the unfazed and frankly meathead-looking Raditz showed he had no idea what she was talking about. Angrily rushing up to Raditz, Baba pointed her finger at him and denounced him. You? Take this seriously? You have such a weird case I had to go to King Yama to look into this up for you? Oh hell no. Trying his hardest to look uninterested, Raditz waved her off and said in a classic scene tone. So what? I had almost died a while back, maybe your system's busted or something. Hitting Raditz on top of his head, which Raditz didn't even feel, Baba said with a pissed off look. Otherworld is perfect, it has no flaw you buffoon, it's you who is the problem, there have been only 3 cases like you till date. Letting out a breath Baba calmed herself down backed away, then she told what she found out from King Yama. King Yama searched long and hard, he even pulled out his million-year-old records, only then we could pinpoint what's your deal. Launch even though timid, got a word in this time. He is okay right? You aren't going to take him away? Scoffing at Launch's words Baba waved her hand. Your man is safe little girl, I was only curious that's why I searched so much. The blushing Launch kept her head down after that, and just kept listening. And you, look interested for once. Listen carefully, you have already died, but now that you are somehow alive only two possibilities exist. Taking out a sheet she borrowed from King Yema, Baba read the information before the trio. The first one is you are a different soul that took over Raditz's dead body. Are they gonna classify me as the race Jinyu is from? Or maybe blame the Dragon Balls? Wondered Raditz as he gave confused look to Baba. If he accepted right away without further information he would only be digging his own grave. And Baba didn't suspect a thing either, she continued. But that's clearly not the case, because we found no record of your past in the books. Every creature has its own record since its birth, but you have none. A soul transfer doesn't change that. Well, of course I don't. I wasn't born here in the first place. How would they even have my record? Thought Raditz, relaxing internally after understanding he wasn't considered a body thief yet. Baba, ignoring everything, continued after flipping to the next page. Then there is the second option. If a soul doesn't have any information at all, that means it's a new soul. Only newborn creatures have that, but you clearly aren't a baby. Waving her hand around, she looked at him with a pissed-off look again. See how much trouble I had to go through. Yema finally found what exactly happened. It was a case of lowest probability. Giving Raditz a somewhat proud look which she hid almost immediately, Baba said with a less harsh tone. Your original soul had long since left and went to hell, but your body held on. Your will before dying was so immense, that even after death your body wanted to wake up again. This immense will and your body's natural instinct actually managed to give birth to a new soul. Boy, only 2 other men had a will so strong that it left its effect even after death. Resisting the urge to twitch his lips, Raditz breathed a sigh of relief. His was actually a straight case of body takeover, but they went an entirely different route because they had no record on him. A will strong enough to persist after death? Please, original Raditz was good, but not that good. What's with that look? You think I want to praise you? That will was just a one-time thing. You don't even look as strong as your dad. Baba angrily rushed to him and pointed at his armored chest. She assumed Raditz's silent look and twitching lips were mocking her. Rashi found this a good place to step in and try to pacify his sister. He isn't mocking you, he is trying to understand what all this means. Nodding his head at Rashi's save, Raditz silently gave him a thumbs up from behind, something which Rashi replied to with one of his own. Baba humped seeing them both and let it go. They simply weren't as smart as she was. Don't think too much, you are not someone else, you are also Raditz, but you have no karma, you are starting from zero. Just think of this as a new beginning, and fulfill what you wanted to do so much before dying. Giving a smile to Baba, Raditz finally bowed and showed his respect. Thank you, Baba. You know some manners after all. Hiding her smile, Baba moved her face the other way, and arrogantly went to occupy Rashi's room. I am tired, we will talk again tomorrow. Rashi looked at his room being taken over and then turned to look at Raditz and Launch, who immediately shook their heads and simultaneously ran towards the room they had captured before. Sigh, looks like it's only me and you again. Bringing a tape out of his pocket, Rashi went ahead and began his nightlife. He was really beginning to miss his youth. It might be time to look for another immortal phoenix. The previous one died before Rashi could get it to spit out its secrets. He will bring it up with her sister tomorrow, right after Raditz finishes asking help himself. Baba always knew where to find things because of that pesky fortune-telling ability. Chapter 32. Baba's apprentice. The next morning all 3 members of Kame House gathered again, all because of Baba yelling at them for being lazy bums. Tapping his finger against his thigh, Raditz waited patiently for Baba to finish her ritual and get on with her thing already. Oh yes, I am done, you may now speak. Clicking his tongue, Raditz wondered why she didn't just finish her rituals before waking them up abruptly. Launch still wasn't rested and was clearly uncomfortable sitting in a place right now, but Baba seemed to not care. Deciding to get this over with, Raditz folded his hands and asked Baba a favor. I wanted to talk to you about Launch. She has a bit of trouble maintaining her senses after she sneezes. Her hair takes on this golden hue, all that she seems to want is to shoot everyone, and she can create guns out of thin air. Acknowledging Raditz's words, Baba began spinning around Launch, who was now sitting straight in an attention posture. She was a little afraid, but a look at Raditz sitting beside her washed her with relief. She would be fine. Yes, it is magic. This girl went ahead and created a whole new state so she can fight back. Asterisk bump? Asterisk. Hitting Launch on the head, Baba glared at the now pitiful-looking Launch. You are an idiot. You are lucky you are still you. If another consciousness was born you would be stuck in your own body until the day you died. The clearly scared Launch stumbled away from Baba and threw herself at Raditz, who caught her and gave her the support she wanted to get. Stop scaring her, just let us know what we should do. Snorting harshly, Baba gave in. She didn't want this harmless girl to suffer any longer either. She has to come with me. I am very busy. I will teach her, and the next time you see her she will have this sorted out. That was a bit of a problem for Launch, who looked up from her hiding place and said with concern. But if I go away, who will take care of them? I can't leave Raditz and Master Rashi alone. Quickly taking Launch out of Baba's smack's way, Raditz frowned at Baba, who seems to get the message that he would be more than happy to spar if she kept throwing hands. While she was clearly pissed at this and wanted to call Bardock Engine right away to teach this guy a lesson, she decided against it. I am doing this for her own good. This excessive harmless nature is what prompted her to create a fighting state, so she doesn't feel the guilt of her actions? Whatever, no matter. Little girl, if you want to get better, come with me. I am only asking twice you because you remind me of myself back then. Before Launch could try and negotiate again, Raditz stepped in. He knew this might really be the last chance Baba was giving Launch. Launch, you should go. We will handle here. While it won't be nearly as good as you can do, I think we can take it as long as you are okay. Rubbing his beard, Rashi also stepped in to convince Launch, lest his sister takes this personally. Listen to Raditz, Launch. Sister hasn't taken a single disciple till date. You know, if you succeed you will be in charge of the other world. Don't tell her. I will be the one to teach my student. Shutting up immediately, Rashi gave up any arguments with Baba, let her enjoy her first student. Launch herself seemed to be smiling while hiding her face. She was happy that they cared so much about her, and sad that they will have to manage without her. She is a really kind soul. Raditz thought while looking at Launch. He understood her inner thoughts. Launch just needed that last push. Go ahead, I believe in you. Taking a deep breath, Launch nodded seriously, then gave Raditz a look and stood up. Walking towards Baba, she bowed nervously. I am ready. Giving a decrepit smile, Baba didn't say one more word, and in a snap both her and Launch vanished. Looking around for a while, Raditz closed his eyes and reopened them after a few seconds. I can't feel her ki, she's gone? Nodding his head like it was the most obvious thing, Rashi got up and started walking towards the TV. Sister is trying to see if she can take over her job. You know that's why she never took in disciples. That would mean they have to be good enough to succeed her. With his hands folded, Raditz asked back. So she thinks Launch can do it. Sitting himself in front of the TV, Rashi switched on his favorite exercise channel. Yes she does, sister must have seen something. Oh, baby. Shaking his head, Raditz let go. Rashi was clearly very invested in this training program of his. Whatever, you keep watching this, I'll go get on with the real deal. Looking at Raditz after holding the mute button, Rashi asked with wide eyes. Get on with what? Training? You are watching training videos, I'll go get some done in real time. Few. Letting out a breath, Rashi waved his students away, who smiled at his master and went ahead towards the ocean. He had Pai waiting for him. After that he had to make sure he doesn't forget Bulma and Satan's problems either. Satan has given the interview yesterday, gotta see how are the results, and Bulma is something I should have taken care of yesterday only. Shaking his head, Raditz decided his priorities for today. Training with Pai, eating a whole whale, Satan's work, and, what else was there? I forgot, guess I'll remember soon enough. Taking off his armor and dropping it on the beach, Raditz got down to his tights. He would experience ocean without the insulating armor today. Chapter 33. 9 months. Few months passed by as Raditz kept up his training. He also made it up to Bulma and passed his qualification rounds thanks to Satan. And just like that, he was again closer to the inevitable day. Vegeta and Nappa were set to arrive. Splash. Taking his head out of water, Raditz took in much needed air. He was underwater for 30 minutes straight, but he didn't train with Pai for a while now. Splash. Another head popped out of the sea. It was Pai's, and she seemed to be taking it easy with one of her hands carrying something big and white. Where are you going? Have you taken care of the shark? It's been disturbing us a lot recently. Pai swam near Raditz and asked with concern, her left hand moving around to show how anxious she was, and her right was carrying something close to her. I took care of it. It won't disturb you guys any longer. Patting Pai on the cheek, Raditz looked at what she was carrying and smiled. Pai also smiled and held it closer to her chest. It needs warm water right now. I can't move away from it. I really wanted you to stay. What if there is any danger? She asked with her emotions again going haywire. She was in a strange state right now, but Raditz had seen it before, so he wasn't surprised. I trained Kaba in underwater combat. He is guarding the cave. It's safe with him, just tell him what to do. Sighing with relief, Pai wiped the water stains off Raditz and said begrudgingly, just come back quickly. I don't like that Kaba. He is like one of those weeds. I sense no intelligence in its eyes. Nodding his head, Raditz slowly began to float out of the water. His armor was already on because he knew today was the World Martial Arts Tournament and he needed to be there. I am going to look over a tournament. My lookalike is fighting in my stead, but I might step in if he needs it. Pointing towards the cave dwelling they spent a lot of time in, Raditz said, I have set up a waterproof TV in there. It's connected to Capsule Corp satellites. You can watch me in action. Channel name is Raditz Live. Nodding her head, Pai gave a smile and settled her grip on her treasure correctly. I would have come, but I can't leave the water right now. It needs to stay in here, otherwise it might not hatch. Raditz waved his hand without any problems. He knew how mermaid eggs functioned long ago from Pai. After the egg was laid, Pai has to protect it for around 9 months. She had gotten extremely protective right now because of this. Nobody can come close to her hideout except her and Raditz. I know, just cheer me from here. I'll know you are watching me. Okay, come back soon? Wish air. With a lot of water splashing over her face, Pai watched Raditz fly away and brought her attention back to the egg. Patting it once, she gave a gentle smile and dropped back into the ocean. Whoosh. Flying through the air, Raditz's first destination wasn't the tournament but the Z-Fighters. He was going to the lookout. Raditz didn't expect time would pass so quickly, but he didn't waste any of it either. Bringing his hand towards his face, he clicked on the scouter. Beep. 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 10,008. That's an 8 increase for today. Well, it's only the morning. Watching his power level grow to reach 10,000 plus was an amazing sight. It wasn't only his power level that grew, he had gotten a lot of practice with Ultra Instinct. He still can't use it, but he was getting the hang of it at least. Let's see if the Z fighters are interested in the tournament at all, or do they want to train themselves for the upcoming threat. While that was something which he expected the Z fighters to do, Raditz still wanted to ask at least. And Bulma would be meeting him on the lookout as well. He has to pick her up for the tournament. She was very interested in going. After flying at full speed for half an hour, Raditz reached the Korin Tower. Flying right into the clouds, he finally reached the lookout. Asterisk whoosh asterisk. Asterisk tap asterisk. Stepping on the white tiles of the structure, Raditz showed his ki fully and thus attracted attention almost immediately. Hey, Raditz, long time no see man. Krillin, who was meditating, opened his eyes and jumped up enthusiastically. But Raditz's scouter blinked into action immediately. Asterisk beep asterisk. Asterisk beep asterisk. Asterisk beep asterisk. 70-50? The hell did you do? The increase from his previous power level was absurd. What did Krillin even go through to attain this? Chapter 34 Rage. Walking towards Raditz with newfound confidence, Krillin rubbed his nose with a flaunting attitude. But then the wave of energy exhibited by Raditz hit him again and he remembered he isn't that hot after all. What brought you here, Raditz? Up for a spar? Grinning lightly, Krillin asked Raditz for a rematch. Sure, he is half as strong, but he has made lots of preparations to deal with stronger foes. Spar? That would be great, but Bulma is coming and she is already angry enough. I don't think keeping her waiting is a good idea. Scrunching up his face at the memory of Bulma roaring with rage, Krillin also gave up the spar plan. Rubbing the back of his head, Krillin called Raditz in. They were standing on the edge for a while now. That's a bummer. Why's she angry anyway? Is that why you are here? Shrugging his shoulders, Raditz walked along with Krillin while trying to sense other strong presences in the lookout. She's been like that since she found out I am going to be a dad, and I am here to call you guys for the World Martial Arts Tournament. Stumbling away a few steps, Krillin looked at Raditz with shock. A dad? No way. Is it Bulma? Then why is she angry? Is it someone else? Scratching his head, Raditz brought his hand upwards and made a hand sign. He didn't need to, but why the hell not? Asterisk poof asterisk. In Raditz's place, Pai Pai appeared, who floated in air like it was water. It's her, the mother of my child. I figured it was good news, but Bulma's being a pain. I hope you don't start as well. Gulping his throat at the drop-dead beauty before him, Krillin nodded his head. I get how you became a dad, murmured Krillin as Raditz transformed back into himself and walked along. He could sense they were walking towards power levels comparable to Krillin. And Krillin meanwhile made more small talk. World Martial Arts Tournament, huh? This sure takes me back. But I don't think I can make it this time around. The Syns are almost here, I gotta train some more. Giving a small shrug, Raditz accepted the argument. He had already expected this before. Krillin meanwhile searched around for anyone and pulled Raditz down, who looked confused and lowered his head. Reaching for Raditz's ear, Krillin whispered, "Are there any more mermaids around your wife? A friend maybe?" Taking his ear away from Krillin, Raditz looked at him with confusion. Huh? No, she's the sole mermaid in her area. I haven't asked about any of her friends. What's this all about? Laughing with embarrassment, Krillin made a half-joke, half-truth statement. Hey, Gaku's got a kid, now you have a kid. I am starting to feel lonely here. I can't wait around for long. Nodding his head, Raditz spoke without concealment. So want to get it on with a mermaid? Alright, I'll ask Pai Pai if she knows someone. Krillin gave a large smile full of giddiness. Thanks man, I owe you one. Don't mention it. Asterisk beep asterisk. Asterisk beep asterisk. Asterisk beep asterisk. 7100? Is this the Triclops? Both had walked up to the sitting area by now, so Krillin didn't have to answer because Raditz had already turned towards Tien. Tien also turned towards Raditz with fighting spirit in his eyes. He didn't even falter, sensing Raditz's 10,000 plus power level. That's new. There's more to him than pure desire to fight. A desire to prove himself? Maybe it's his tri-beam. While Raditz was confident, he wasn't confident enough to fight against Tien if the guy had his Cell Saga tri-beam. Tien had no business holding Cell down for even a single second, much less how long he did. Anyone less powerful would be grilled to oblivion. I want that attack. Time to steal some techniques. Can't do it from far. He's powered up too much for that. Gotta go up close. Asterisk click asterisk. Cracking his knuckles, Raditz walked up to Tien with a smirk on his face. I don't like that look you are giving me, Triclops. Narrowing his olive eyes, Tien stood up with his muscles bulging. Yeah, what are you going to do about it? A deep laughter emanated from Raditz's throat as his hair began to defy gravity. Tien wasn't behind either. His GI was fluttering as his power was being stimulated. He was ready to brawl. Wow, easy there. Let's not destroy the lookout man. Yamcha got up and tried to pacify the situation, and Krillin put his hands around Raditz too. Come on. Bulma's almost here, and don't you have to tell them the news? This although didn't stop the glaring contest between Raditz and Tien, it did cool down the situation somewhat. Tien understood that this isn't the time, and Raditz, having already stolen the technique from Tien by now, had no interest in standing face to face. We will settle this later, or we can do it in a while if you are coming to the World Martial Arts Tournament. It's today. I was here to inform. Anyone wanna join in? Or I'll win this too easily. Backing up, Tien sat down beside Titsu and looked up at Raditz without any fear. I'll join. I am already as strong as I can get right now. 1 more month isn't going to do much. Might as well get some actual battle experience against Tian. Tian's challenge was gladly accepted by Raditz, as it was shown by his confident smirk. Yamcha also spoke, but he wasn't interested in going. Nah man, I can't go right now. I am very close to improving my technique, sorry. Waving his hand, Raditz let it go. He expected everyone to not go. Tian was a surprise. But another one was also remaining. What about you, Titsu? Titsu, even after being called out, was silent, then looked up with a bit of heartbreak. I am not able to keep up with you guys. Kami says I haven't reached my limit yet, but I am not improving fast enough. I won't go. I want to train some more. This was a surprise for both Tian and Raditz. Both expected Titsu to stick around Tian, but that goes to show how he too didn't want to be left behind. It's alright Titsu, I'll win the tournament for both of us. Thanks Tian. Asterisk whoosh asterisk. Turning towards the abrupt sound, the Z fighters found a yellow-blue flying machine landing on the lookout. The machine had RB crossed out besides the Capsule Corporation logo. It was this machine which Raditz and Bulma had upgraded together. Asterisk click asterisk. The cockpit opened and Bulma stepped out of it with an exhausted face. Meanwhile, Raditz and the Z fighters had walked up to her and Raditz twisted his brows looking at the crossed out RB. Why did you cross it out? That's our machine, wasn't it like a symbol to show that? Looking at Raditz with an incensed look, Bulma walked up to him and yelled loudly. You jerk? Why didn't you tell me you were a dad? Oh boy, Raditz is a dad. That's rough buddy. Krillin, Titsu, Yamcha, and Tian all had different reactions after this information drop. Raditz meanwhile closed his ears and looked annoyed. Why are you screaming on my face? And I told you as soon as I knew. Okay, what's it with you? As if powering up, Bulma's hair floated up from sheer rage. What's it with me? Ugh. The Z fighters looked at each other and silently made distance. They were not going to get involved with this. Chapter 35, Crazy Yamcha and County were stupefied. 1 minute Bulma was bickering with Raditz, and the next she was back to normal. How did he do that? Was the question in the mind of every Z fighter. It was like Raditz always knew what to say. He could understand Bulma's intentions, even when she said something else entirely in her anger. They have really good chemistry, at least that much was obvious to everyone. While their relationship doesn't look patched up at all, it was leagues better than before, when Bulma came up to fight him directly. Whatever, I am going to get changed, said Bulma with anger, leaving her slowly. Meanwhile, waving her away, Raditz looked at the crossed out RB marking. Folding his hands, he emphasized, and I will be uncrossing this. Do whatever you want. Saying this, Bulma went towards the lookout to borrow a room to get changed. She was not dressed up for the occasion. According to her, she was too angry to get dressed, but now that her mind is clear, she wanted to get ready. Looking at her go, Krillin gulped and looked at Raditz like some sort of wizard. You really managed to calm down, Bulma, huh? Know what? It'll be your job from now on to tell Chi-Chi any kind of news. Twitching his eyes, Raditz wondered if that was possible, if there was something in Chi-Chi's mind beyond rage and abusive parenting. He could look past Bulma's rage because he knew what she really thought, so he could clear up any misunderstandings between them. But Chi-Chi? Haha. To read minds, Chi-Chi must first have a mind to work with. The only thing up there was how to best abuse her son into a whimpering coward and emotionally destroy him for not following her every word. If Piccolo didn't raise Gohan right, the boy wouldn't even have courage to stand up for himself. Case in point, Gohan became a badass in the future as soon as Chi-Chi was out of the picture. Brother's wife? I'll pass. Laughing lightly, Krillin patted Raditz's back, trying to support his best friend's family a little bit. She's not all that bad, once you get to know her. Raditz, hearing about Krillin's words, paused for a second, then remembered Chi-Chi's various actions throughout the series. Mistreating her father, gaslighting Gohan all his childhood, calling her other son Goten a monster on his face. I somehow doubt there is a human left in there or not. I see, I'll keep that in mind. Raditz didn't say anything much. Chi-Chi might really be an avatar of sheer awesomeness, but Raditz personally didn't find such people very awesome. Step. 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 Oh, you are back. Giving Raditz a glare, the returning Bulma crossed her arms just like him, a habit she seems to have picked up recently. What? You thought I'll take a long time? Sorry to disappoint you. Shrugging his shoulders, Raditz didn't mind and got into the driver's seat. Wonderful, you coming or not? Snorting softly, Bulma went into the passenger seat and looked the other way. Raditz closed the windows, waved at the Z-fighters and took off. Tien didn't want to come with them. He could see how tense the atmosphere was. He wasn't interested in inserting himself into this mess. Whoosh. Watching them leave, Yamcha asked Tien with good faith. You sure you want to go right now? Doesn't seem like a good time. Turning the other way, Tien went to get his gear sorted. That was his answer to Yamcha. Wrong timing or not, nothing could stand between him and Raditz's match. Even if he won't follow with them immediately, he will have his fight regardless. Guess that's my answer. Wanna watch the tournament? Scratching his head, Krillin shook his lips. No, I'll just train, together. Sure. Both finally decided to do what they wanted to do before, with Jitsu going to do his own thing. Tien was the only one participating in this tournament. He had practiced Tri-Beam with multi-form technique to a very high level. I'll win this, said Tien with confidence. They had made crazy gains because they had spent a whole extra year in the time chamber, and Raditz still surpassed them by so much while training normally. Tien didn't like that, so he wanted to prove to himself that he might be getting stronger slowly when compared to Raditz, but he was still as good of a martial artist. Chapter 36 Hips in a stadium that would put world-class locations to shame. A massive crowd was gathered, chatter and excitement was practically filling the air. Before such a massive crowd stood a man who simply belonged here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Martial Arts Tournament. The announcer who should have taken over in the Universe Tournament was showing his magic once more. Hyping up the crazy crowd some more, he pointed towards the door on the left while standing right in the middle of the tournament arena. As you all know, the man who needs no introduction, the great Saiyaman himself, Raditz is here. Wuo, Shirik. Yainth. He is the reason all aspiring warriors can compete here once more. And that's not all, Raditz would be fighting against the top 3, all by himself. Huo? Another loud tsunami of cheers broke out in the audience stands. Raditz has been marketed so thoroughly everyone knew him as some kind of big shot. Step, step, step. Walking out of the dark reaches of the door, a tall figure wearing Xian armor and white cape stepped out. Each of his step had a flair to it, he was strong and he knew it, and now the whole world would know it too. Step, step, step. The cheers stopped, only the figure of Raditz walking towards the center of the stage captivated the audience. His confident smirk, his grace, the Raditz branded shirts they were wearing, everything was telling them one thing. Step. Taking the microphone from the announcer like he owned the place, Raditz raised his fist up. His cape fluttered and his long mane was revealed in all its spiky glory. The stadium once more stood in a standstill as everyone sitting here felt a shiver through their spine. It was as if Raditz was looking at them, nothing could be hid from him. Oye, Wuo? The massive cheers flooded the place as the buildings themselves shook from the sheer excitement the audience was feeling. Everything was on fire. Except one room, a single VIP room, where a buell-haired girl turned to look at a tall, muscled armored man. Oh yeah. Trying his best to not blush out of sheer shame, Raditz clenched his teeth internally. Do not talk to me, I'll settle this with Satan after the tournament. Looking at Raditz trying hard not to act bothered by his image getting dragged to the ground was a bit cute to Bulma. But she would never say that out loud, she knew him well enough to know how highly this Xian pride of his mattered to him. You think this is cute? I'll have you know, I was not privy to this information before now. Bulma snickered. She wasn't able to hide her true feelings after all, so she just it out and hid her face to laugh a little. Rubbing his forehead, Raditz decided to just let Satan do his thing. Raditz's inherent Xian pride was asking him to go and demolish this fraud. But it's not logical, he's a showman, this is a show, I gotta understand this. And now, it's time for the Raditz dance? Come let's do this together. Muscles? Muscles? Oh yes, I got those muscles. While Raditz danced with his cape fluttering and his hips shaking, Bulma had to physically hold down the red-eyed Raditz. Wait, don't go in there now. Turning towards Bulma who was doing her best to hug him tightly and keeping him in place, Raditz looked at her red-eyed. Let me go, that bastard. I am shaking my hips like some buffon. I am a warrior dash. I like it. Stopping in place when Bulma said that, Raditz looked at her like she lost her mind. You like that bizarre movement? Are you finally out of your mind? Patting her forehead Bulma stopped hugging the struggling Raditz and spoke while giving him a look. I don't like the dance silly, I like it that you are finally loosening up. Bulma didn't give the frowning Raditz time to ask, she herself continued. Don't be so stiff all the time. Holding his stiff muscles lightly, Bulma told Raditz while remembering their conversation at the lookout. You know this stiffness is what stops you from just speaking. A lot of misunderstandings can be avoided if you just say something. I understand you because I know you. You don't have to say anything to me, just enjoy the show. Tian won't go down on his own you know. Bulma finished her speech, a speech that awfully sounded like an acceptance of apology, but Raditz didn't remember asking for one, so he shrugged. Must be nothing. No idea what you mean by that blue, if it's about the time I took your food, I'll have you know dash. Stopping for a split second, Raditz turned towards the field where Raditz was currently dancing with the orange-haired girl. Pointing towards the field, Raditz asked Bulma who was closing her eyes after giving her splendid double-meaning speech, feeling proud of herself. You sure that's okay too? Oh come on everything is what is the hell is that guy doing? Hey, stop this? Hey. Now Raditz had to hold down the red-eyed Bulma as the orange-headed girl slipped and fell into the embrace of Raditz, blushing up a storm, getting another wave of cheers out of the crowd. That's the woman, Miss Piaiza, Satan's previous manager, talk about making a mess. Shaking his head at the display and cringing while thinking Pai and the rest of the Z-fighters would watch him disgrace himself, Raditz let out a sigh. Never again, but this is a necessary step. As long as I get the attention of King Furry and show key to the whole world, all this will be worthwhile. Raditz kept trying to control Bulma who was out for blood while thinking about his future plans. If he played this right, he will shoot himself straight to the levels of fame Satan had after the Cell Games. Chapter 37 Ground Rules. No matter how much Raditz hated Satan's show, he understood the man knew how to make a crowd riot. The general human knows nothing about martial arts besides it's cool and violent, telling them what's what is useless, said Raditz, his original personality slipping out from behind his Xian instinct. Bulma also noticed while sitting beside him, how Raditz was making the Sam's eyes her father makes when he was calculating something big. You are right, I am not a fighter, so I don't care about half of the things you guys find interesting. The only reason I can tag along is because I have been around you guys for so long. Nodding his head slowly, Raditz focused on the stage where Raditz was fighting against a beastman. No actual moves, it was all fancy tricks, but it was pumping up the audience and making them go wild. This planet is absurd. I have been on many planets. I have seen civilizations, unique cultures, but this is the first time I have experienced the culture of ignorance. Raditz could tell, most of the audience was here to see blood. They were screaming only because of the hype Satan had created. They didn't understand a thing besides that looks cool, or I'll go and do that at home. Nobody gave a single thought to how much effort the fighters are putting in. No wonder this planet is so low-powered. If I didn't survive by pure chance, your planet would be doomed. All it would take is Vegeta and Nappa going great ape and even brother won't be able to beat them. Scoffing Raditz painted a picture that can't happen because the moon was missing and Nappa didn't like transforming. Nappa didn't have his transformation under full control yet. He could retain his mind, but if he got angry he lost temper far too quickly as an Uzuru. But Bulma or the Z fighters didn't need to know that, because Nappa might actually transform this time around. Gulp. I should start working on Android T. You are making me anxious. Bulma rubbed her hair with a pissed-off expression. She hated the fact that the Earth wasn't safe. Raditz training and forgetting to tell her about things made sense to her now. He was far too busy thinking how to save the world. Android T? It's about time. You need me to get something for it? Tao Pai Pai is a master. I would like this android to have all his abilities. Waving her hand, Bulma replied without a second thought. I can do it. Some designs of Android 8 are missing. Dr. Gero didn't sell them it seems, but I contacted this dealer. Showing 3 with her fingers, Bulma said. She said she'll sell them to me for 30 million zeni. She supposedly came upon it because she robbed them. Her name is Violet, but it's probably a code. Raising his eyebrows, Raditz remembered this Violet girl. She indeed did steal the Red Ribbon Army base, because she was one of their core players. Giving it some thought, Raditz decided to agree to the trade. Tell her you'll get it. I'll protect you myself. There is nothing on this planet which can get past me, except Bu. But he's still sleeping. Raditz's words evoked a smile from Bulma, who took the opportunity to stay close to Raditz. She already almost lost her chance because she was hesitant, but now she's not going to lose any chance whatsoever. I'll take your word for it. Looking at Bulma speaking sweetie, Raditz gazed into her eyes, something which Bulma took note of and did the same. Slowly she started coming closer. She was going to go for it. Closer. A bit more closer. Woo-oh? But the loud cheering sounds broke the immersion immediately. Raditz turned his head towards the stadium, looking at Raditz building a crazy following. And Bulma clenched her teeth and sighed. She failed once again. Ladies and gentlemen, Raditz has won against the 3rd place and the 2nd place, a sweeping victory, and now, it's the final battle. The large screen showed Tien in his 3-eyed glory and his amazing set of muscles. Tien, this performer has breezed through the contestants just as easy, but can he stand against our champion? Letting out a breath, Raditz turned towards the exit and said, I'll be fighting now, but I'll be back soon. Sighing with a sad mood, Bulma still cheered up and looked up, wanting to wish him the best. MMPH. Opening her eyes wide, Bulma found Raditz's face moving away, but the sensation was still fresh on her lips. That's all the luck I need. I'll be back, Blue. Same words spoken once more, but this time I'll be back had a different meaning to it. This once again reminded Bulma why she was into tough guys, and Raditz was the toughest of them all. I'll have to talk to Pai Pai, muttered Bulma as she watched Raditz leave. She needs to set some ground rules if she wants to do this. Chapter 38 Raditz vs Tien. After all his work was done, Raditz left the stage for some quick rest, and shortly afterwards Raditz walked out of the resting area. Immediately, those few in the know-how realized that Raditz was different from his usual self. He looked much more like a warrior. All of his previous caricatures must have been a facade, is what the select few thought simultaneously. He was simply having fun because they were too weak for him to go all out. If not this, his present self didn't make any sense whatsoever. Raditz's aura alone was making wind change direction. And now for the final bombastic battle. On the right we have Raditz, our personal star. And on the left we have Tien, a fighter who has no equal, until now. But this time around cheers didn't flood the arena. Raditz's presence wasn't something they could cheer for, it was something more. Multiple gulping sounds were heard throughout the audience. Their throats were dry, so this was the full power of their hero, they wondered. He was a tiger and they were the rabbits. When he shows his presence, they tremble in fear, and Raditz was showing his presence all right, all 15,008 bits of presence. He hid his strength. Gripping his fist, Tien narrowed his eyes. Raditz didn't have such strength when he came to invite him. He was around twice as strong before, but now he is almost 3 times as powerful. Still, a challenge isn't something Tien is afraid of, regardless if or not the audience cheered. He walked out. The announcer also caught on to the fact that Raditz's presence was too overwhelming, so he began steering the direction accordingly. Such strength. I can feel it in my bones. Can you? Can you also feel Xiaoman's power smashing into you? After a single second of wait, the first person finally got rid of his innate fear as his fanboy took over. His scream started a chain reaction. Oh, finally getting rid of the bondage, the audience felt coming here was worth it. Where else could they feel this trembling sensation? It was better than 3D movies? Looks like I am not the only one. But it's to be expected. Some of you might remember the previous winner of this World Martial Arts Tournament. He was named Gaku. And Raditz here is his older brother. It runs in the family everyone. Gaku destroyed the entire arena with his massive strength. But we have a tempered arena this time around. Can Raditz achieve the same feat? The audience waited with bated breath as the announcer painted a picture that would let them cope with anything supernatural afterwards. Now it looks like I have said enough. Both fighters are rearing to go. Tien, Raditz, please come onto the stage. Saying this, the announcer simply walked off the stage. He was told to build hype and he did so, but he was also there personally when key attacks were common. He had seen Rashi destroying the moon, Gaku going great ape, he has seen the likes of Bacterian and Piccolo Jr. wreaking havoc. And he had seen the final fight of Gaku and Piccolo. The entire stadium was destroyed and he survived by chance. Now it's Gaku's older brother. Let's hope this sturdy arena isn't going to break down too quickly. Having finished his thoughts, the announcer took 2 more steps back, because he remembered Tien too liked to use multi-form technique and attack from all corners. His job was difficult, but he loved it very much. Please begin. 3, 2, 1, go. But being warriors, neither started the battle as soon as they were told to. Getting into his stance, Tien told Raditz, "You hid your strength." It wasn't a question, it was a statement, to which Raditz nodded with his hands folded, taking no stance whatsoever. This caused Tien to frown. "Are you looking down on me?" Having a relaxed body, Raditz smiled. "No, I am in fact using my best technique. Let's call it Ultra Instinct Omen. It's not quite there yet, but I hope I'll have it figured out in this fight." Raising his eyebrows, Tien took a closer look at Raditz's relaxed body, and now after seeing it with his third eye, he caught a glimpse. Raditz wasn't open, he was in fact covered in every direction. No matter which direction the attack comes from, Tien could see Raditz can defend. "Amazing," murmured Tien, "a very novel technique, but he will understand it even better if he personally went ahead and experienced it." Whoosh. Without giving Raditz any more chance, Tien almost vanished from the eyes of the audience. Step. Who promptly saw him appear beside Raditz's head, his leg extended in a kick, and Raditz's head tilted just enough for the attack to miss. Such speed? Nobody but the best fighters can see them coming. But worry not, for we have slow-motion cameras. Raditz and Tien began their clash, which was more Tien attempting to hit Raditz at least once, but failing repeatedly. As the red-hot fight was going on, a specially made software processed their fight in real time, and showed it without the slow motion but making them visible in the frames. Earthlings might be willfully ignorant and derive happiness from taking decisions based on emotions rather than facts, but now that their emotions were also triggered in this fight, and they could see what was really happening, they were totally on board. Anyway, this was thought up by Satan, and he knew what clicked and what didn't. Ha! Bang! Finally a well-timed Donon Ray managed to hit Raditz's chest, pushing him back as he quickly deployed his ki to defend the attack. Patting his chest with a fearful emotion, Raditz wondered why he was again being hit on that spot he was drilled through before. "Don't tell me, my chest is like Vegeta's arm? Always damaged? Oh man, that would suck so hard." Deciding to pay extra attention to his chest, Raditz patted his smoking armor, and looked at the waiting Tien. "Sorry about that, this technique isn't perfect yet, thanks for waiting, now." Narrowing his eyes, Raditz's hair began floating, as he crouched down in a stance. "I'll begin my attack, try to survive." Bang! A big fist is all Tien saw before his chin was hit, shaking his brain, but his eyes didn't lose focus even now. Psst. 3 energy beams fired from Tien's eyes, almost hitting Raditz, who dodged by instinct once again, and gave a roundhouse kick straight to Tien's neck. Crack. Thud. Rolling onto the ground after a terrible cracking sound came from getting his neck kicked, Tien was shook. Close combat with Raditz, who was 3 times stronger than him, wasn't good enough. If only his attacks hit, he could still do something. But Raditz dodged every attack he threw. He needed to make distance, and increase the number of people, if he wants to beat Raditz. "I know how to win this." With this thought, Tien slowly rose up, cracking his neck once to remove the dull pain. The audience meanwhile gasped, looking at the replay of the fight, and the glowing energy attack from Tien's eyes. The announcer was telling something to the audience, but neither Tien nor Raditz were paying attention. They had something much more important. Tien was going to do something, and Raditz was looking forward to the technique. More he practiced, more he'll get Ultra Instinct down. Chapter 39 Multiform Screech. After another bout, Raditz skidded to a stop, his Sun boots giving him a better grip compared to Tien, who kept going for a bit longer before stopping. Smiling a smile that was full of pride, Raditz folded his hands, and from behind his fur-covered waist a brown tail slowly slithered out. "Warm-up's over? Now Tricklops, open your eyes and watch how a real Sun fights." Tien could swear he saw Raditz's pupils take on a tinge of gray for a second before he was pelted through the arena. Gah! An intense pain rang throughout Tien's body. This one attack was more than sufficient to put the Tricklops down. Trying to stand up, Tien was failing repeatedly. This attack was deadly, way too deadly. Tien didn't even get to do his technique before he was taken out in a single attack. "Don't bother, you are hurt too badly, I have hit all your weak points instantly. The only way you could have seen this coming is by pure instinct. But you did well, at least you are still conscious." Tien's mouth was dripping saliva and blood, his eyes were bloodshot as he tried his hardest to get up. Raditz, seeing him struggling without any result, finally gave him a look and turned his back. He was walking away. This instantly caused Tien's blood pressure to rise, his veins popped, his body was releasing adrenaline in bursts. Where do you think you are going?" Getting a second wind from sheer hysterical strength, Tian somehow managed to stand up. He was taken out in one single attack, just one. As soon as their warm-up was over he went down. This was utterly disgraceful. He was a guy who saw second form Cell decimate everyone including Super Saiyans and went ahead to fight anyway. And weirdly enough, he even managed to do what nobody else could. He won, not his battle against Cell in general, but the overall war. And seeing Raditz's unfazed look but stopping back, Raditz knew it too. Tian was tapping into every human's innate potential, their hysterical strength. I can't fight much longer, one attack, that's all I can do. Bringing his hands in a cross position, Tian crouched down, his eyes bloodshot. Ha! And just on cue 3 more Tians phased into existence, who promptly ran towards the 3 corners, Tian himself jumping to the last corner. The multi-form technique, Tian's speciality, nobody could copy this. Is it Tian's own innate ability? I wonder. 3 eyes, 3 clones, we got a Rinnegan over here. While Krillin was shown to copy the technique in the anime, that was filler. In the canon this technique and Tian's eye beams were specifically his. Well, eye beam was something people like Piccolo and Frieza could also do, but it wasn't copied by other humans, maybe an alien thing, but that was debatable. After Goku survived this attack, he showed me its flaws clearly. I won't make the same mistake twice, Raditz. All 4 Tians spoke, simultaneously their voices rang. The announcer was also saying something with passion while running away, but neither Tian nor Raditz paid attention. The multi-form and tri-beam combination. An area-wide attack. I can't dodge this with instinct alone. My technique doesn't work all the time. Only if I had the whole thing mastered it would be a different story. As expected of a once rival of Goku, Tian found countermeasures to Raditz's state almost immediately. This was what made the Z fighters stand out, their sheer battle IQ. If not for lagging behind in strength, Goku wouldn't always be the strongest without question. Shin. Putting his hands together, Tian made a triangle with his palms, a logic-breaking triangle which makes a square-shaped hole. Somehow, with veins bursting on his head, Tian finally gathered enough energy for one intense attack. Kikoho. Huom. Raditz's eyes turned, his tail hair stood up, he was feeling threatened. His first thought was flying up, but as soon as that thought came his instincts rang. There is threat up there. Raditz didn't have enough time to think how Tian got rid of the one weakness in his technique, because the attack was upon him from every direction. Growling. At the very last minute Raditz's eyes finally took on a yellow glow, his hair floated and got more spiky, veins popped on his body and the attack. Boom. Finally hit, shaking the arena as a massive hemisphere of pure energy covered the entire stadium. Screams of the audience was the least of the tournament staff's concern. Tian's 7,100 power level supported tri-beam was too strong. Raditz? You 3-eyed bastard, what did you do to him? Pai Pai screamed at the television and the egg besides her trembled, glowing a white glow once, showing its anger while mimicking its mother. While Saiyan babies did what Saiyan babies did best when not participating in Super Saiyan God rituals, the tournament staff and Satan were walking on fire. It's terrible. Satan's teeth chattered. He was imagining himself having to fight like that whenever he transformed into Raditz. This was so much pressure. You guys. Patting her head, Bulma looked a bit worried. She had seen these kinds of fights a lot, but it doesn't stop her from worrying. As Bulma concentrated on the stadium while standing on the window, the dust finally began to settle. Ahem, Mr. Tian has doled out a fantastic attack. The entire reinforced arena is destroyed. Can Raditz survive this? The announcer pushed himself off some debris and screamed with passion, giving the panicking crowd's emotions a place to emerge from. Saiyaman. 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 Xiaoman, I love you. The audience began chanting just like they always did in canon, but instead of Satan, this time it was Saiyaman. The dust is clearing. I think I see someone. Who is it? Who's the winner of the World Martial Arts Tournament? The announcer pumped the audience more and the dust finally began to lessen in density. As the visibility slowly came back a little, everyone could make out a single person standing in the middle of the arena. But no one was happy, instead everyone was unsettled. Who is that? A fanboy said while his body was trembling, because in the place Raditz was supposed to be, stood a gigantic monkey-like monster. Its stance was the same as Raditz when he was forced to take the attack head-on, but its maw and the pure red eyes showed its wildness. The great ape himself was also still, as if thinking about where to wreak havoc. Ah dang it, triggering a carry with a tail is way too hard. I messed up and transformed completely. But it wasn't wreaking havoc that was on Raditz's mind, it was that he messed up his control of Iacri. After all, its entire thing was triggering Uzuro without a tail. Now all Raditz was thinking about was how to salvage this situation. Chapter 40 Warrior Race. A trembling pressure was present around the stadium. Raditz's 10 times boosted Uzuro ki was like a predator's gaze. Raditz's all red eyes slowly blinked, then the Uzuro broke its defending stance. Gulp. Straightening his gigantic body, the Uzuro crossed both his hands and turned his head towards the announcer, which got the announcer to snap out of it. Clearing his throat he said, Ahem, ladies and gentlemen, Saiyaman has done it. A light mumbling was heard throughout the audience, as they tried to understand what did the Saiyaman do? Are they supposed to know? They sure wanted to know. I think the audience is dying to know the final results, but before that, can I please ask Mr. Raditz to cancel his transformation? It's hard to interview you from down here. The planted agents in the audience began laughing at their cue, and like sheep everyone followed along with the bad joke, not wanting to look stupid for not understanding. Satan has ideas all right. Raditz sighed, sensing Satan barking instructions through the microphone to everyone. That's why Raditz left it to the professionals. Relieved that he didn't have to do any explaining, Raditz let out a breath and began shrinking down. This caused another wave of cheers from the audience because the announcer had by now convinced everyone this was Xiaoman's power. Tian, or Tian's, they are knocked out all right, mumbled Raditz while watching the unconscious Tian's lying on all corners of the arena. The announcer internally sighed. He remembered how Goku had to be controlled when he lost it. That's why he was stuck, not knowing what to do now. He is the older brother of Goku after all, he can control this monster form. That's a good name, monster form, I'll go with that. Dodging the rubble in his path, the announcer ran up to Raditz, who maintained the same cross-armed posture, looking like a tough guy. Amazing? Was that the monster form set to release in the latest chapters of Saiyaman from space? The what and what now? Raditz's eyes twitched, then he searched and understood from the announcer that Satan had capitalized on his alien backstory. He was selling Saiyaman comics and merchandise, and this monster form is something the announcer made up on the spot to help him. These guys, they have no shame. Raditz was speechless, but he was not in a position to say anything. The audience was eating this up. He could even hear people comparing him with a werewolf. The ancestor or werewolf, the one true progenitor, the savior of half-human hybrids and many such titles. And hearing all that was enough for Raditz. He understood what his current situation was. Yes, this is my monster form, its name is Uzura, this is something every Saiyan can do. We are a warrior race, best of the best. Now Raditz decided to drip feed this information for two reasons. Not only was this in line with this Saiyaman from Space comic, it was also meant as a reminder to King Furry. King Furry knows quite a bit about this world. Not only did he personally meet King Piccolo, he was also aware of Goku's strength. This should make it easier to get a meeting set. Now it's Satan's duty to do the rest. The announcer meanwhile was walking around Raditz and telling all sorts of stories from the comic, all on Satan's order. And this was as much as Raditz was willing to entertain the crowd. He had much bigger fish to care about. Pai, she was the bigger fish Raditz cared about more than anything right now. She after all was carrying his spawn. Do your job, Raditz said under his breath, and the announcer immediately snapped out of it, and quickly came to Raditz and raised his hand up. And with this, I announce Raditz has won the World Martial Arts Tournament. We have a winner. Huo. Gazing upon the cheering crowd with his hand raised in victory, Raditz finally gave a smirk. This endeavor was worth the effort. Now only 1 month is remaining, and he will need it to get his Uzura training done. I'll get Tian on the way out. Telling this to the announcer, Raditz vanished from the spot and collected all 4 Tians, who vanished into one as soon as they touched each other. Tuning out the announcer and the audience, Raditz walked towards the doctor's room. Tian had taken a solid beating. He needed some medical attention.